generations. And now, the power of two restores the one.
We got a bidet. Hey everybody, and welcome back for another video. In today's video, we have made it to the season finale of The Skeleton Crew. Um, Happy to say that it was a good ending. I am happy for this show. Unfortunately, I have seen online that this show did not perform as well as The Acolyte. We all know what happened to that. So,
Whoa, 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 whoa. Perform as well as the Acolyte.
yes, viewership is way down from The Acolyte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, you're good. I was shocked too, quite honestly. But it had the effect that The Last Jedi had on Solo, where people didn't like The Last Jedi, so then they didn't go see Solo. It was a very similar process here. They didn't like Acolyte, so people didn't show up for Skeleton Crew. But fingers crossed that they have a season two greenlit. I know the budget was significantly smaller for Skeleton Crew. It was like half of the Acolyte. So maybe we can get some momentum going and get this show a season two. I think they have perfect basis set up for them to do so. And so I'm just hoping to hear maybe from Star Wars Celebration Japan that they greenlit season two, but we'll have to wait and see. So, what did you guys think of the season finale? Was it good? Did it answer the majority of your questions? Was it a letdown? What do you think?
I thought it was really good. They kept the pace up the whole time. Maybe they didn't do the most interesting things with Adden or the supervisor. But I think there's still some threads open that they could you know, make another story with, or maybe there's another adventure for season two, if that was where they were going to go. But to me, this did seem like a one-of story. I think I would honestly be fine if it was. I thought it was fun.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice that each kid got to have their own hand in how to save things, so they all got their own special moment of, whatever they had to do. I think the dynamic between Wim and his dad is really fun because, we've got parts where he's kind of showing his dad how to have fun, like when they jumped the canyon on the speeder bikes, but then at the same time, like I don't know why I thought this was so funny. But at the very end, one of the last things we hear is his dad yelling, "Wim, Wim!" And he just keeps yelling it over and over because Wim's not listening. I'm like, that's so classic Wim right there to just not pay attention and be in his own world. So I thought their relationship was fun. I'm glad we focused a little bit more on them versus any of the other parents. Not 100% on board with how Jod was handled at the end, but I don't think it's as bad as the Acolyte by any means in terms of character motives or anything like that. I'll take this one issue over the Acolyte flip-flopping the whole season. The one thing I wish that we would do, because to your point, it does seem like a one-off story. I feel like we almost need a follow-up episode, maybe not even a whole season, but at least an episode of, what happens to Jod, what happens to Atten now that the barrier's gone,
Mhm.
or that the supervisor's gone. What?
Books.
Oh, I don't
Oh,
want to read
books.
more books. I want to know.
No, it did
Show
feel
me.
like we were missing an epilogue to the show or a post-credit scene. It's just some sort of little wrap up, um, some nice little bow on this story. I feel like they gave us the bare minimum they could have to end the story. Um, because Adden is going to go through significant change in the coming. I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe they just fire up the barrier tomorrow and go back to normal. I mean, they got to fix the supervisor, but I'm sure at this point KB can handle it.
I
I don't
think I'd
know.
be interested in seeing like if the I wouldn't call it a season two because it wouldn't exactly follow the formula here, but I would be down to kind of see how the adults respond to society being broken and how they remake that. Is there a threat that might come in and see that they're unstable and try to, pick up the pieces that the pirates left behind, kind of a thing? Would Jod do that? Would he somehow gather some people to come back and try to overthrow once again? I don't know, but I think there's definitely a story there to continue it. Sarah, I was thinking about what you said about Wim and his dad and them having a moment. I was thinking to myself, I feel like so they had a moment. KB and her parents had a small moment, when the ship was going down. They were talking to her, saying, you can do this, kind of a thing. Fern had a moment with her mom where she was saying to her mom, uh, I think she was talking about having to just believe in the cause and you have to do something as opposed to just sit around. I
Yep.
can't remember. Did Neil have anything with his parents?
Not really, because his mom was with the other two or three kids. They were being like shuttled around in the streets, not shuttled, uh, escorted around in the streets, just like the rest of the, main population. So we kept looking at them, but they weren't with Neil. They had no communication with him.
I feel like that's one missing piece that would have made it a little bit better. Because if you, like you said, we have these highlights for all the kids. We kind of left our favorite one out when it came to the parent moments. And I would have loved to see something from his dad.
Yeah, that would have been cool to see the big tusk guy.
Do we
Yeah,
even know what he sounds like?
I couldn't tell
Yeah.
you.
I don't know that
I
he's had a speaking role at all.
don't think so. Yeah, we just got the transmission that they sent up their message before. That was a nice little parent moment.
Did he speak though, or was it just his mom?
It was his mom.
I think it was just the mom, but the dad was there, but
Right. Yeah,
he was
we've
there in
seen him.
spirit.
I don't think we've heard him.
Say that does lower the budget of the show. Like if you're an actor and you're just kind of a stand-in, you make this much money. If you say one word, then you automatically elevate to another pay scale. So
Hmm.
that could be one way that they did it.
Yeah. Well, Neil had a we can just say Neil had the best relationship at home anyways between any of these kids at the beginning, so he didn't really need to have that growth. He had more of like a personal growth.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good thing to point out there. Um, I know we're all big fans of Neil. Were you surprised when you saw him in a bubble bath?
Like, he's been on a long adventure. I mean, they were in the mud, in the dirt, in the snow. He must need a bath.
Take the time to clean up a little bit. I was surprised to see that, honestly.
It was like the second time, right? It was funny. I don't know. It was just like
Well,
again.
it's kind of an excuse for him to be by himself and not with his mom and the other kids, because that's why they got separated.
Yeah, I suppose. But it also, I don't know. I also would have liked it more if they just had him tell his family, like, you guys go be safe. I have something to do for my friends or for at Aden. Like, I have something important to do. And then he goes to the school and gets the laser. Um, I didn't quite, I don't know, we'll get to it, but I didn't quite love everything about his moment.
There was a couple of things that we didn't like in other parts of the episode too. So I guess we can start going along with what happened in the episode. So last week we ended it with, Jod igniting a lightsaber and looking towards the kid's parents in the vault. And honestly, it wasn't as I would say threatening as it seemed it would be because the way I interpreted it as was that he ignited the lightsaber and he was just kind of saying like, I am here. I am the best person. Like I'm the what's they called the emissary. Um, just kind of gloating a little bit to
Yeah,
kind
he
of
was flaunting it.
yeah, he's like showing that he's all that. And so then he puts the lightsaber away pretty quickly. So I thought he was going to be more of a threatening character in this situation, but not quite.
I
Yeah,
think,
well, he threatened the kids up front, so I guess they're sort of staying quiet. And he's also able to get the droids in line real quick. Um, what were you gonna say about it, Sarah?
well, he's able to talk his way out of situations with people, but that doesn't really work with droids. And
Mm-hmm.
so waving a lightsaber around in front of a droid, I don't think that's really going to convince them to behave accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, his main concern is getting his other ship on the ground.
Yeah, he just has all the droids believe he's the emissary just at face value. So, um, you know, that's convenient for him.
So then
Yeah.
how do we take care of that? Well, this is where the splitting happens, right? So they send Neil, Wim, and is it and KB as well?
Yep.
And then
So they
uh
all get sent home with droids to watch over them so that if they say anything, he'll know.
except for Fern, because he takes Fern and Fern's mom, that being Jod, to go meet the supervisor, which this was the part that I was very excited about. My eyes were glued on that TV to try to like pick apart what can I see in this scene? What is going on here? And in my opinion, the infrastructure looks like what the Imperials would use. And the reason why I was making that connection as well, based on some of the stuff we saw in previous episodes, the episode, I think it was number 4, maybe, when they went to the wrong planet and they had the parkour girl all over the place. Some of those troops had helmets from the Imperials. And so I don't know if there's a connection here or not, but the big surprise, quote unquote, and also, Austin was correct about this. It's a droid, right? There's no one person there. It's not like the Wizard of Oz where somebody comes out eventually behind the curtain. It's just a droid. And so they kind of talked to it a little bit, and I was actually pretty shocked to see that Jod stabbed it right in the face.
So here's a question for you. The supervisor questions Jad, like, okay, I'll let your ship land if you can answer this. The Jedi are supposed to be traitors, so is it that you're a traitor or are you lying about being a Jedi? Well, with when this takes place, that's not factual in the bulk of the galaxy, right? Because we're in the age of the New Republic.
True. But
So,
that
do
was
you think that
um
lines up with you saying that that area looked imperial, or is that the wrong timeline
I
for
think
that?
there's a couple of things to unpack here. Because, so he asked, like you said, he asked Jod, are you a traitor or are you not a Jedi? What I think is very interesting about that question is that I I think from what our understanding is that the people of At-Aten don't really know what's going on outside of their world, right? Because they have the old credits from years and years ago. So I find it a little surprising that the supervisor would even know about that. So that it must be fed information some way, shape, or form, unless it is somebody controlling it from distance far, far away. But with you asking the question, does that line up with what's going on? It does, because the Jedi being traitors was in Revenge of the Sith, and the Imperials rose from episode 3 all the way to episode 6 is with the fall of the Empire, and this takes place right after episode 6. This is during the Mando time. So it lines up, but it's weird that the supervisor would know about that stuff.
well, I forget how it's worded, but I think it's something about like this is the last transmission we got from the Republic or something like that. It's worded something like that. But so I think that kind of makes sense, right? Wouldn't that just be Order 66? Wouldn't that just be like the transmission saying, all the Jedi are traitors?
Yeah.
Um, so that I mean that transmission could have come any time really. Um,
So you're thinking that, well,
because I think Aden's been running this way for decades.
so then I guess my question is this. When Order 66 was sent out, was it only sent out to the clone troopers, or was it sent out like galaxy wide to any random people? Like, was it on the news station?
I guess
Um,
I thought it was in the clone droids. Or clone droids, excuse me.
Clone troopers.
Yes.
the clones. Yeah.
Because if it's only the clones, what clone was there, or what clone is talking to this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, uh, maybe. Maybe it was
Okay,
just
Disney,
different
we're writing this one
transmission.
down.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what we're getting at, right? We all kind of brought this up earlier, but we wish we got a couple more answers about this planet and you know the backstory here.
Now this
Um,
this isn't an excuse for that, but I did read up a little bit on why there was some of the answers not or the questions not answered. And the director slash writers said that they really wanted this show to be from the perspective of the kids,
hmm
which kids don't always understand what's going on, let alone pay attention or pick up on things. So that's why they left a lot of the things, unanswered or not shown in great detail.
Yeah.
Because that was the response to why didn't we see like a what's that word? Flashback shot of Jod instead of just hearing him talk about the
Yeah, it was
planet.
literally one line.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? What happens next?
So he destroyed the um
Supervisor.
supervisor. And then there's this little like pole thingy that can shut down
Oh, the barrier.
the barrier. Yep. And so he being Jod wants the big pirate ship to be able to come down and, take all the money. The kids, on the other hand, want the barrier to be shut down so that they can possibly contact the New Republic. Well, more specifically being Kim, and then Kim would contact the New Republic.
Yeah, but at this point, I don't think Fern's thought about that yet. She just doesn't want Jod to have his way. But Fern's mom offers like, well, we can't shut down the barrier because that's permanent and we can't undo that and that's our protection. But instead, I can pull a few strings or whatever to allow your ship passage through. So just like a one-time passage to get the ship uh inside the barrier. And so that's what they go ahead and do.
And then
Yeah, it seems like
eventually,
Fern's mom was pretty high up the whole time that she could have. She seemed to be pretty clued in. Like she knew the supervisor was a droid. Um, so she was all about it. But yeah, sorry to derail you there, but
oh, you're good. Um, I was just gonna say, and then their plan to be able to contact Kim was they have to get the Onyx Cinder or whatever new name they want to call it after it, got rid of its shell.
I think
But
it's still the same name.
that has to go up, into the galaxy, like, off the planet. That way the message can be relayed to Kim. So the barrier, well, I guess they don't technically need the barrier down for that, but um Wim and his dad are able to. So I guess we should point this out too. Once uh, Jod stabs the supervisor, all the droids shut down, all the power all over is gone. And so that's kind of like a callback to like Star Wars Episode 1 when the big ship blew up and all the droids were no longer functional. But so now that those droids aren't functional, our kids that were being watched by droids are able to leave their house. And so they all hop on the speeder bikes that Sarah was talking about earlier on. And then Wim's dad is like, "You can't do that." And so he hops on a bike. Why does he like steal a bike from a kid?
Mhm.
There's another I look like an adult or a teenager. At least it wasn't as young as the rest of the kids, but we don't see how he acquires the bike, whether he pays the kid or just straight up takes it, but either way he gets that bike.
Right. And
I
so
know Wendell. I think that's his name, right? He bought it, but who,
Yes, Wendell.
who knows? Once again, I wish I could have seen that. Like,
what happened?
why can't we do quick scenes like this? I don't get it.
Which is funny too, because I feel like his character and the actor himself has a lot of potential to have comedic moments.
Hmm.
We saw that when Wim asks him, "Can you get the clamps off of the ship?" and he does like this little funny monologue with him, and I feel like it would have been a funny, awkward encounter with that kid trying to get the bike.
Hmm. Yeah, like that kid, they literally gave him a speaking line in the first episode. He does the little drive-by while KB and Fern are working on their speeder bike.
Oh, I did not
He's like, "Hey,
recognize.
wastoids."
I
I
didn't
didn't
remember
realize
that.
we'd seen him before.
Yeah.
I just thought he was like a Breakfast Club looking kid in
Well,
Star Wars, and he stole his
welcome
bike.
back for episode 8. Nope, no speaking lines this time. Sorry.
You're on camera for all of 3 seconds.
We're gonna take your bike.
Eating a sandwich or burrito or something.
But anyway, yeah. Wendell can hang. He can ride.
Yeah, he can do the big jumps. I know I
Yeah.
probably couldn't. That would
Yeah.
terrify me.
Things start going bad real quick because they do get the ship through the barrier, so the pirates come down and they just start going to town. They start blowing up cars, they start firing their cannons everywhere. They're firing it at the children.
Which this whole time Jod says, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to destroy anything.
Yeah,
And it's like, yeah, you don't, but your pirate crew does.
right.
We just want to scare him.
All he says the whole time is get them, get them. But there they are chasing them with the cannons.
When he goes, don't hurt them because they're my new employees.
Exactly. Jod can't, he's too greedy. He doesn't want to just take as much money as they can take their fill. He wants to just control the mint and control the planet and have everyone work for him and continue to make more money. He can't just be happy with a little bit. He lost to his own greed in the end. But yes, the kids end up taking the same shortcut from before, where they found the ship, where Wim found the ship. Except this time they have to jump the canyon, and that we brought this up before. They got to go full throttle. KB gives them the demonstration, hits the jump first, perfect landing, and even Wim's dad hits it as well.
And he was pretty stoked.
He was stoked. Most exciting moment of that guy's life, his whole life.
Well, let's not remember him saying, like, aren't you excited for a home cooked meal? And it looked like this, like, super burnt TV dinner.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Like, oh yeah, I miss this so much.
So like they are doing little things with the characters, but they could be doing a little bit more. But
Yeah, they could
yeah,
be an
then they're
hour long episode.
basically right, they could be an hour long. So, what?
So,
Now they're
wi-
basically to the
women,
ship, right?
yeah. Women, KB, and Wendell were going to fly the ship. while Neil protected them with cover. So we'll cover Neil in a second, but they can't get
Hmm.
the ship out because the legs are locked in. So that's when Wim and Wendell um, leave to go redo the power so that they at least have power to unlock the ship, right? So,
Yep.
Austin, would you like to cover what Neil does to give them cover?
Oh yeah, Neil. So just like on Hana's planet, he checks out the school, and sure enough, there's a big old turbo laser on top of the school. So Neil waits for his moment. He doesn't do anything too crazy. He's not trying to draw any attention, but when the pirate frigate takes their moment to line up a shot on the Onyx Cinder, Neil hits him with the pow pow, takes out the cannons.
We get that satisfying moment coming full circle because, right, he practiced it before, and now we
Mm-hmm.
see here, like
Mm-hmm.
Austin said in the previous weeks, what he really wanted to see is that payoff, and it
I was
was here.
waiting for it. And yeah, it could have been a little bit better. They is a little bit heavy-handed because we knew he was going to do covering fire the whole time. Like I wish it came as a little bit of a surprise to someone in the show. But that's okay. It was fun regardless.
I felt like when the ship was hit, that was kind of surprising. Like I didn't anticipate the timing because I think they were getting um Urkel was getting ready to give the command to blast somebody, and then immediately they got hit, and that's when that transition happened.
When they send the message, you're saying? Or when they get outside the barrier?
No, he's talking
Or
about
they
Neil
start
shot.
taking fire before that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pirates were about to blast something. I don't remember what it was, but as soon as they were like locking on, that's when Neil.
Yeah, it was when they were leaving the atmosphere because they were going to get the message out, because
Yeah,
it was
but then
blocking
they
transmissions.
the whole point was, cover fire or a distraction, which works because
Hmm.
instead of firing at KB, they fire at Neil.
Yeah, well, he takes out one of the guns, but they have a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they just take out the cannon instantly. But it's enough of a distraction where KB is able to fly the ship out with a little help from SM-33. She got him back operational.
We got
Now
With
to
the
our
the king.
little
C-33.
mouse crawl on her head.
Yep.
I forgot its name already.
Snowball.
I was gonna say I remember it being something kind of simple, but
But the other part of getting that ship out was getting the locks undone, right? And so Wim distracts Jod by saying that he already called the
Oh,
X-Wings. So that way Wendell can kind of sneak over to turn on the power so that KB can get away. And before Jod realizes what's happening, it's kind of too late because KB takes off. But
yeah.
now we've got KB, or I'm sorry, now we've got Fern and her mom, and then Wim and his dad, all kind of as prisoner of Jod. What do we do? How do we how do we help KB and you know once she gets out there, they still need a way for the X-Wings to get through the barrier on their way back.
yeah. So eventually they have to pull the lever to take down the barrier. I did think this was a little drawn out of the Fern wants to go do it, and her mom pulls her back saying, "No, you
Hmm.
can't do that." And then, Wim wants to do it. The final straw is when KB is coming back to the surface after relaying the message, and she gets hit, and so then the ship is like spinning down to the surface, and um, when she spins down to the surface, and the ship goes behind some buildings, and right away I said to Sarah, well, she's not dead. There was zero explosions, but the kids don't know that, and so that was kind of the final straw of we need to get this barrier down. We got to do something for KB. And so they have another struggle with Jod a little bit. I think even Wendell gets in the mix of it where he's trying to pull the lever and Jod's trying to pull him back.
Well, and he's using the force to pull Wendell's fingers off to the point where I almost thought he was going to break Wendell's fingers.
There was some cracking.
But he's also not willing to like actually hurt them with the lightsaber or the blaster. He's just firing it in their direction and swinging the sword like in their direction, pointing at them. You know,
Yeah, this
it's
was one of the things that I thought was kind of weird because he loses control of the lightsaber, like it falls to the ground or something. I don't remember exactly how that happens, but that wasn't my problem. My problem was that Wim picks it up, and so he's got it. And I don't understand why Ja doesn't just take his uh gun and just stun everybody. Like you don't actually have to kill, but like why didn't he just stun everybody so they just, didn't have an opportunity to mess with things?
Well, his blaster has to be able to be set to stun. I don't know if he has that functionality.
yeah, it was either that or he tries to, I don't know.
I would imagine the droid guns would have a stun feature though, and there were
Yeah.
some of those in the room.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of like our whole problem with the show. Like that just wasn't the best way to wrap that scene. He kind of just admits defeat. Um, because at this point the barrier's down.
And he just
Uh,
tosses his gun to the side.
yeah, and then the X-Wings come in. They even have some B-Wings. Um,
That stuff I thought was cool.
yeah,
Seeing
that
them
stuff was
like,
very cool, but Ja just immediately kind of just knows he's beat, so he doesn't
Which is
try to
one of the
hold
things
anyone else hostage or
that was one of the things I really didn't like is, Wim has a lightsaber, he turns it on, and I was telling Sarah, like, I can just imagine Jod aiming at the lightsaber, shooting at it, and maybe it like knocks it out of Wim's hands because yes, he's holding it, but I don't really think that Wim would know what to do with it. And so if he did some sort of maneuver where it would, you know, jar it out of his hands and then he could use the force pull really quick to get it back, he could be in somewhat control again, but I think that was a little wishful thinking at this part in the story. But yeah, I love the X-Wing and B-Wing stuff. That was probably my favorite part of the episode. And the noises of the X-Wings when they're shooting.
yeah, definitely. They brought out all the special bells and whistles for the finale here for the real heroes to save the day is kind of the idea.
yeah.
This is kind of what the kids look up to. Um,
It was neat to see Kim again,
yeah,
Owl
got to see
Lady.
Kim again.
We had to, because with that line of "call me anytime,"
Right.
if
They
they
set
didn't
up
do
too
anything
many
with that,
things. We had entire episodes that paid off. Well, I guess they paid off in pretty big ways. But
Yeah. So we leave Judd behind. Everybody gets in the elevator to go see what's happening. Does anybody else think it's weird that Wim and his dad were able to use the elevator to get up there when the power was shut off?
didn't even think of that.
mm-mm.
That's hilarious. Maybe, I mean, he is the operating person. Is either there's
Yeah,
a
he didn't have a
stairway.
problem getting power back to the ship. So,
Yeah, maybe he hotwired the elevator. That's a great question, though.
I
Hotwired
mean,
the elevator, but couldn't hotwire his car in his garage?
they clearly had a plan, right? Like Wim distracts him the whole time. That scene was nice. It was actually Jod getting a taste of his own medicine, right? Because the kids are
Yeah.
just giving him the runaround, just stalling while Wendell is on the panel the whole time. But
But anyway, we'll go past that, I guess.
Maybe Wendell missed that day of school.
We gotta see what's going on with KB, right? We gotta go check on our girl.
oh yeah, yeah, KB. So they go and find KB, and naturally, all of the money broke her fall. She's perfectly fine.
Did we win? I think is what she says.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Oh,
won.
she was like slightly unconscious for a second, but she wakes up immediately and says, "Did we win?"
She just needed that fresh air.
Yeah.
Or the smell of money.
And 33 also survived the crash. He said that was one of his better landings. So much like in Anakin fashion. That was nice.
We basically close out the episode with Wim looking up at the X-Wings and just being starstruck about the New Republic, and it just cuts, which is
Hmm.
kind of that awkward ending to the show. It seems like it's an ending to an episode where there's more to come, but
Hmm.
supposedly there's not.
Yep. Well, we know one thing. The school is broken, so there's no way Wim can have assessment tomorrow. But he might
Delayed
have to do
indefinite.
it in the future. But hopefully there are some more options on there.
Were the X-Wings leaving or just still circling?
I thought they were leaving.
It kind of seemed like they were leaving, but it wouldn't make sense for them to leave without just saying anything.
Yeah, like check
Hey,
in and be
that's
like,
what they
"Yo,
did in the other episodes.
that is true." But also, like, if nobody knows about this at Atten, I feel like they would be like, "Well, where are these coordinates taking us to?" When Kim says something to them, and now that they know that this is a thing, they, I would think they'd want to investigate it.
Hmm. Something.
I am a
So
little
many questions, so
disappointed.
little answers.
Yeah, we didn't get too many answers. Like, would the kids have been able to find an emissary if they looked for one? Like, do those still exist? Are they in operation?
Kind of feel like the answer is no.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
But how much longer would they have kept making credits if nobody ever came to pick them up?
Hmm.
My follow-up question is if there's no emissary, why would the supervisor even believe that Jod was one?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of goes back on my theory where I think the pirates kind of set this whole place up so they could come and go as they please.
Well,
Oh,
and if the supervisor's so outdated that he thinks the Jedi are traitors, then maybe he just still thinks that there's emissaries even though there's not.
Hmm.
yeah, because he probably wouldn't know about the fall of the Empire.
Like I imagine the pirate Captain Renard, just said every time he went to this planet, they stole a ship, they stole a mint ship, and then every time they showed up, they just said, "I'm the emissary," grabbed their load of gold, head out for the week for a few rotations. You know, they probably had all kinds of fun because they had all this, money, all the money they could ask for. So, I mean, that's kind of the story we get, right? Something about like a concubine stabbing him in the back, like, they're probably doing some spice stuff and getting all crazy and I don't know, living
Yeah.
that bad pirate Star Wars life.
Yeah, sweet. I mean, we end with a lot of questions, but I still think it was a pretty good ending. Um,
It
and
was
I
more
wish there was just
cohesive
a
and
little bit
different.
more, but I feel like we wrapped up a lot of loose ends and had a lot of things come full circle, and I appreciate them paying attention to all those details.
Yeah, nice to see.
And most things made sense. It wasn't just, oh, this happened because we have to, circle back to what we said 3 episodes ago.
Right. Yeah, I was pretty happy with the skeleton crew. I didn't have high expectations or hardly any expectations going in, and I had fun with pretty much all the episodes, but I think it was a little slow to kind of get from point A to point B. Like, I think there's a world where this was a really cool 2 hour movie, 2.5 hour movie, maybe, but um, it was fun.
Yeah, I would say I liked it too. I would say all in contrast to that though is that I think I had low expectations just because I knew it was going to focus on kids, so it wasn't going to be like that adult adventure, like the Acolyte promised, even though they didn't deliver, or like it's not going to be like a Mando type level of situations. But um, I think when they established how well these characters are, like the kids and the mystery behind their planet, like there was a reason to be invested in the show, and I think that's kind of what pulled me in.
Yeah.
I'm still a little disappointed that we didn't have a moment where Jod went down with his ship. I know he's still alive, but I think that would be a really cool pirate thing. Or
They gave
if,
it to your boy, Urkel.
yeah, that's true. We gave it to Urkel. He did do that.
He said, "Cowards, where are you running off to?"
Maintain your stations.
Yeah, that was funny.
It also would have been wild if this would have been one of the areas that the space whales fly by, and we could have got some like sea monster action in here on the pirates, but
Hmm.
I think that's a
Oh,
little wishful thinking.
even when the citizens were seeing the stars for the first time, can you imagine if they saw those whales up there too?
Yeah,
Hmm.
whoa.
Those people are having heart attacks, all of them. Like that old lady with the dog.
That dog was great.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, kind of on the what you were speaking on with the viewership. I think it definitely was impacted by the Acolyte. I think um the marketing wasn't crazy for this show. They didn't super, I mean, it has
They
I don't
didn't
know, its name
oversell it.
doesn't really right. They didn't oversell it. The name isn't anything overly intriguing or interesting. I don't think this is a show that like would draw a lot of buzz, attention, you know? I think this is one that'll like age well, I guess. Like, um,
It's a solid entry point for children to get into Star Wars if
yeah.
adults really don't want to watch the animated stuff.
Hmm. And I think like if anyone does give it a chance, I think they'll easily get through the whole show. Like, whereas I think if someone starts the Acolyte, I think they're very likely to not finish the whole show. Um, but it's just yeah, kind of like you said, it got influenced by what came before. So people are just upset with the overall IP of Star Wars at the moment. But yeah, interesting to see how Andor does because those are a different format of TV show. So
Definitely a different demographic that they're trying to pull in. So they're trying to go for adults this time, primarily. Because I
yeah.
would say, I would argue that this show is aimed at kids. I don't think that's a
Absolutely.
secret by any
Yep.
means. But when we go to Andor, there's already a decent following with Andor. There's lots of people that absolutely love season one. I would not say I'm in that boat, but I'm intrigued to see what happens with season two. Um, so I think that Andor will do better than this show. I think that'll see the viewership rise a little bit.
I feel like my opinion of Andor is the same thing that happened with Wicked, where I was really excited with Wicked to see when she became crazy, or, Wicked, and that didn't really happen because it's part one. And with Andor, I really wanted to see Cassian with K2SO, and we went through all of season one and he never got with him. And so that was like the thing that I was looking the most forward to, and it never even happened. So I'm hoping in season two that they meet up early so that we can have some solid time between the two of them because that's what I'm looking forward to.
I can't
I've
attest
heard
to any of that.
I've heard there's an appearance, but I don't know anything about how much time. But
We shall see.
Yeah,
better
it's
than
not
the
too far
fake
away.
out from season one, right?
All right. Is there anything else we want to mention about the Skeleton Crew besides that we have major thumbs up for it?
Yeah, I
No,
hope they do
just
a season
pretty
two.
good. I hope people give it a chance if they haven't. I don't know why they would be watching this video, but
True. Maybe to see if it stuck the landing as opposed to the Acolyte.
true.
I would argue that it I mean, it wasn't a perfect landing by any means, but it was definitely better than what we've got in the past.
Hmm.
Uh, cool. So yeah, that was our discussion on the season finale of Skeleton Crew. We do recommend it. Check it out. Like Austin said, it's kind of weird if you're here without seeing it, but it's okay. It's cool. Come hang out with us. We probably won't have a video like this come out for a little while yet because I think Andor is the next show. If I'm not correct, I don't know what the phrase is, but that's
Not
coming out.
mistaken.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that comes out in April, so we got a couple of months between now and then. So, but if you enjoy this type of video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Drop us a like if you like the video, and drop us a comment, letting us know your thoughts on the show and the episode itself. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.